Welcome to the microKAST. Welcome to the microKAST.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the KORG microKAST podcast. My name is Adam Whittle. I'm joined today with Andy Pullen in a blazer.
Hello.
Dressing up for the occasion.
Absolutely, I want to look good for this.
and Luke Edwards as usual.
Hello.
How are we doing?
I'm very well, thanks.
So I thought I'd start this podcast off with a bit of culture.
Culture?
I'm not telling you I'm doing this, so I'm just going to do it and then you'll see why. I'm not going to do the voice because I don't want to offend anyone, because I can't do an American voice. That's a bit of a hint.
Okay.
Here we go. Please bear with me. It'll be about a minute long. Here we go. Mike. What's sorry, let's start again. Sorry.
Mike.
No, sit down.
So at the beginning
Let me do this. It's serious, this.
Okay.
Right, you've got to guess what film this is from.
Okay. This is a
Mike.
competition now.
What's the pool on me up to right now? What's it up to? What is it? $300? Is that it? 300? I'm a school teacher. I teach English composition in this little town called Adley, Pennsylvania. This last 11 years I've been at Thomas Alva Edison High School. I was coach of the baseball team in springtime. Back home, when I tell people what I do for a living, they think, well, that figures. But over here it's a big, big mystery. So I guess I've changed some. Sometimes I wonder if I've changed so much my wife is even going to recognise me whenever it is I get back to her. And how I'll ever be able to tell her about days like today. Ryan? I don't care. Man means nothing to me, it's just a name. But if you're gonna Ramil and finding him so he can go home, if that earns me the right to get back to my wife, well, then that's my mission. You wanna leave? You wanna go off and fight the war? Alright, I won't stop you. I'll even put in the paperwork. I'll just know that every man I kill, the farther away from home I feel. There we go.
Wow.
So there we go. It's quite a nice, emotional, powerful start to the podcast. But do you know what film that's from?
Can you do just a little bit of accent for us?
Yeah,
No,
it's not the same in a
Listen.
Blackburnian voice, is it?
No, but imagine that in an American accent. What film do you think that's from?
I really have no clue, actually.
There was a clue halfway down when he talks about Ryan.
Saving
Saving
Private
Private Ryan.
So is that Tom Hanks?
That's Tom Hanks.
Was it really?
Yeah. So
that's an impossible accent to do anyway.
now the reason why I've done that is because that is apparently one of the most famous monologues in film history.
Right.
Okay.
One of the
That we
most
didn't get.
famous monologues ever. But
Wow.
it's just about to be knocked off that top spot by a brand new product. So there's the weak link.
Very tenuous link there.
Indeed. So thank you for putting up with me in that little section there. And I'm full of a cold,
I can
so
hear that,
I'm not going to
yeah.
do much more talking. But we're here. We're announcing the KORG monologue.
Yes.
Amazing.
Announced yesterday.
Announced
Yeah.
yesterday. So that gives you kind of a clue of when we've recorded this podcast,
Yeah.
being the 2nd of November.
Yes.
So yeah, a monologue.
Hot off the press.
Hot off the
Yeah.
press. We didn't know this was coming.
No, it was
It
kind
was-
of a last minute announcement to us anyway,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
So let's go straight into it. So 5 colours is the first thing that I noticed.
I think that's so cool.
So we've got
Oh, really?
sexy silver, sexy blue, sexy red,
Yeah.
sexy black, and sexy gold.
I thought you were going to say and gold.
I was tempted.
And gold.
I was tempted.
No, the gold one, don't leave it out. It's
No,
nice.
gold one's cool.
Yeah.
So Luke, do you want to tell us about you've had one of these now?
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks.
I have. Yeah, it's based on the mini log, obviously. It's
Mhm.
kind of inspired from it, is what they're saying, but it does have quite a few differences. It's a slightly different engine. The filter is different. The waveforms differ slightly. Obviously, it's monophonic,
Yep.
so it specialises in sort of bass sounds, leads, and great for kind of sound effects and stuff like that. Another thing that's been added is the drive knob.
Yep.
So that allows you to it's got an overdrive circuit in it, so you can really dirty up the sound and add more complex harmonics using that as well. Obviously, it's a smaller size than the mini log as well.
Mhm.
It's 25 keys, and the scaling on it's quite interesting because they've decided to do 2 octaves, but starting with E.
Yeah.
So it's E to E. So that threw me a little bit initially, but
yeah.
yeah.
Guitarists everywhere were going, yes!
That's right, yeah, exactly. I
Finally.
can play in the right
Maybe
key.
that's the reason.
Yeah.
Could well be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
could well
yeah,
be.
could be, I guess.
Yeah. So the other thing which is cool, it's got the 16 buttons on it, which are the 16 steps for the sequencer, so you can see all 16, just like on the Volcas, without having to sort of page across. So that's really neat. Still got the nice tree wood on the back.
Tree wood. It's all about the wood.
Yeah. And the 5 colours is really cool. I think that kind of harks back to the sort of 80s when they were making things like, the SH101 where there's the 3 colours and stuff like that. And yeah.
And assuming it all still syncs with all the Volcas and the monologue and
absolutely,
stuff,
You've got sync in and out, so you can sync it to any of our analog gear very easily.
Yeah, I mean the cool thing, obviously, it looks like a mini-log, doesn't it? Which is really good. So it's got that really unique style.
It's like a mini-log, isn't it?
Mini monologue, mini-log.
Yeah.
So I mean, it looks really cool. But I mean, the most exciting feature for me is that it's got a new game on it.
It has.
The first thing I asked when I opened it is, right, come on, is it the same game or is it different? Now, for those of you that obviously have seen a mini-log, know that if you switch it on and you touch one of the control knobs, ideally the pitch bend, you get like Arkanoid.
Yeah.
And the screen, and you have to like.
That's Breakout for anyone that isn't in a complete like nerdy gamer, by the way. That's
Arkanoid. You don't know Arkanoid?
No, I know what it is, but I'm just thinking of the people that maybe went out when they were children.
It's basically a bat and a ball and a wall to break down.
Yes. So we've been trying to work out what the game is for Monologue because it's different.
Yeah, and now, you seem to think you know what it is.
Well, I think I do.
Yeah.
Because obviously what you do, knowing a mini-log, I go straight to the pitch bend wheel and nothing happens. But if you press one of the sequencer buttons, it moves.
It does.
And it's like Flappy Bird.
Right.
Can we say it? Yeah, can we say
Flappy
that? Can
Bird?
we? Flappy Bird.
Other Flappy Bird games are available.
No, you get like a bat, and then when you press the button, I like it when we're talking more about the game than the. But obviously, I've literally only just seen this now, so obviously I've played the game more than I've actually played the monologue because it's not actually plugged in.
Do you know something that just occurred to me as well?
What?
So the one we've got here is the blue one.
Yes.
Yeah.
What if the different colours are different games? What if we're talking about
imagine that?
My head would explode, I think, with excitement. I'd have to collect them all and
special edition podcast.
One could be like GTA and one could be like Battlefield. And
That's it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Well, it might be true. We might be talking about this, and people are going, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
I've got one now, and I don't have that game. So just be warned. We don't know.
Yeah, we've only got one so far. So
yeah, so I mean, you've got it plugged in.
Yeah,
so give us some tunes.
So it's got the step sequencer built in. So I'll just play you a couple of patterns. This one's really cool. So what you can do actually with this, which is different from the mini-log, is you can actually program in a parameter per step in the step sequencer, and you can actually step it in. So you get this kind of thing happening. So you get some kind of motion in the sound as if you were using the controllers, but it's controlled per step, which is really cool. It's got stuff like this in there.
That's wicked.
Oh, that is.
So you're hearing me bringing in and out the drive there.
Yeah.
And at KORG, we're very honoured actually to have had some of the patches programmed by none other than Aphex Twin. So they've actually got involved in some of the programming, and some of the patches actually have their kind of prefix, so you know which ones are theirs. So it's all that kind of thing.
Wicked.
It's really aggressive sounding as well, isn't it?
So yeah, it's very versatile. So you can do, you know, your nice smooth basses, your leads, all the way to that kind of thing where you literally, you know, zapping in and out different effects and stuff. So
amazing.
Tell you how I know this is a really good thing, because as much as I'm finding it interesting you playing it and telling me about it, I sort of just want to push you out of the way and go and make music with it.
Yeah,
it's
which
really
is the sign of a good synth, I'm guessing. Yeah,
you
Yeah,
hear
definitely.
sounds and you're like, I want to go. I've got the song in my head. I want to do something with that now.
Well, that's what it should be about, to be inspired to make music, shouldn't it? So
Yeah. So there we go.
so that is the monologue.
So that's
yeah,
the monologue. So check it out, and we expect these to arrive probably in January. I would have thought.
They told me today could be back end of December, but most probably
so
next year.
it's most possibly January.
Yeah,
So 5 colours available.
yeah.
So yeah, amazing red,
Favourite colour?
amazing blue,
Oh, yeah,
amazing
go on then.
silver, black.
What we're choosing is
Gold.
our colours.
I've only seen blue. Well, I've seen the pictures, obviously. I mean, I I like silver because it looks like the
See,
monologue.
I do as well. For me,
I like it, but I'd have something different just so it didn't look like the mini.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I like the blue one that we've got here.
Yeah.
I've just tweeted some pictures of that, so you can see that.
The red one's nice as well, I think.
So what we're saying is we like all 5 colours.
Yeah,
essentially.
one of each,
So,
please.
yeah. If we had to pick, it would be all 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So November the 1st will go down as an exciting day in history, because not only has the KORG monologue knocked Tom Hanks off #1 monologue spot, but we've also announced another product.
We have.
Well, another 2 products, but
Yeah.
we'll start with the first one, which is the KingKORG is back.
Back in black.
Back in black.
Yeah.
See what he did? So we're doing a black version to replace the gold. See, KingKORG for me, I love it because it takes me back to when I used to work in retail and I used to sell them and they were great. And so this is the same thing. It's exactly the same.
Same engine.
So everything about it is the
Yeah.
same. It's just a new colour and
Yes.
it looks amazing.
It
So
does.
you need to check that out.
It's actually amazing how different it looks in a different
Yeah,
colour, doesn't
yeah.
it?
I was
isn't it?
saying to someone earlier, it's essentially the Sith edition of the synth because
Love it.
it's
There you go.
black with the little red
And
LEDs.
everybody
that come through
needs to learn Bone Slippy because there's a Bone Slippy preset on it, which is just
It
amazing.
is. It is very
It's
good.
a
I remember
massively
showing you that.
powerful synth as well, isn't it? It's just like,
It is.
You know, some people haven't necessarily got that previously, but it's just you need to go and check it out. Essentially, get down to local stores.
Definitely.
They've shipped now.
And talking about Siths and obviously the Star Wars link, we were talking last time about this being episode 5,
Yeah.
and of course
I'm
Empire.
here sat in my Wampa outfit,
yeah, I was
as
just
I
going to
promised.
say. Yeah.
Andy's not brought his Star Wars costume. He's wearing a blazer for some reason.
I could be
Very
wearing
Star
anything
Wars.
right
Luke's
now.
dressed as
Yeah.
Princess Leia.
Complete with buns.
yeah.
Actually, it's not far off. That's worth tweeting. That. Yeah.
So what an amazing month so far. And then the third announcement for this month is something we're going to talk about next month. We're going to bring Gadget back in, Ian Bradshaw again.
Yep.
Because as well as announcing and releasing this month the ARP Odyssey module, we've done an iPad version of the Odyssey.
We have.
So that has also been released this month as well.
Yeah. I'm yet to try it properly, so I'll look forward to
I
next
think
time.
we'll
when
get Ian
Ian's
on.
come in.
Get it and he can bring
He
it in. He
can
can
gadget
play
it
some
up,
of his
yeah.
favourite sounds and all that schmizzle.
Talk about the clown lady chalkboard thing that we did last month.
What?
You know, on Hold, the Channel 4 thing he was talking
Oh,
about.
that-
the clown. It was all-
yeah.
yeah.
Listen to episode 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's a spoiler there.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
So that kind of rounds up the first bit of new news. But something that we mentioned last month was a feature that we're running with the ARP Odyssey in particular, where anybody in the UK that buys an ARP Odyssey can actually register the product with KORG, and we chuck you something for free.
Free.
Free?
Free.
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 Wow.
So you're going to get an SQ1 for free.
Free?
Free.
Well, it is free, but you've obviously got to buy an ARP Odyssey. But what an amazing thing that is! So anybody in the UK that buys an ARP Odyssey from now until the promotion ends,
Which is the end of December.
which is the end of December. So anybody that wants to buy a loved one a present for Christmas, buy them an ARP Odyssey. You
What
know,
a nice present that would be.
it'd be an amazing present.
It's 2 for 1, really, isn't it?
There you go.
Two
Yeah.
presents.
Because
for
what
one.
you could do is you can actually buy an ARP Odyssey for them, wrap it up, and then you can wrap up an SQ1 as well. So that means you're getting I've bought you this as well. So it looks
And
like
pretend you've actually bought it.
yeah. I've done that before now.
Have you?
Yeah, of course, everybody's done that. You know, you bought something and it's come free with something else, so you wrap that up as well and say
Who
that you
did
bought
who
that.
did you do that for?
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
But
You're not
we've
going
all
to state
done
that
it.
now. And you're not going to put it
no,
on the
I
record.
actually
We
can't
would've put it
remember,
up.
but I know I have done it. I've also taken the free bit out and wrapped that
Give
up and
that to
given it to
someone
someone else. So you've actually got 2 Christmas presents in one there.
That is a result. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody needs to buy an ARP Odyssey. So that's the other bit of extra news following on from the announcement last podcast episode.
Very good.
So the other thing is something else that we're going to be offering in the UK, and we've not really got all the details as yet because I've just seen it on Ian's desk in the other room because we are at KORG Towers today, is we're doing another promotion called Supercharged,
Yes,
and I think that's worth mentioning.
it is. So this is a promotion we're going to be doing with quite a few different products actually.
Yeah.
It covers a lot of our range, certainly on the synth side.
Mm.
And it's basically an offer where you buy the product and then you get some nice data for free, basically.
For free?
For free.
Free?
Free. And you get a nice piece of media with it, so that'll either be a USB key or a SD card, depending on the format of the instrument.
Again, if you want to buy someone a Kronos for Christmas or a PA4X or many of the different products that we offer, you can wrap this up separately and offer it for another Christmas present.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Or, you know, give your mum the SD card. I'm sure she'll love
You're not
it,
going to need a lot
That's
of paper
it.
for an SD card, are you?
I'd say, Mum, you don't need to buy Jack a present for Christmas. I've bought him the Kronos. You can wrap up his
supercharged
his media.
kit.
Yeah. So anybody that wants to know more about this promotion that we're offering, if you Google KORG Supercharged, I'm sure in the next week you'll know all about that. So
Yeah,
again,
it'll be up
that's
there.
anyone in the UK that wants to get involved with KORG. Google KORG Supercharged, and you'll see what that is all about.
Yeah, cool
So,
stuff.
I think that wraps up part one
It does.
of the news.
Nose.
So I guess we just need to sign off in style as usual and say, let's go and get a brew.
Let's go and get a brew.
Let's do it. Welcome back, part 2, episode 5. We've had a brew.
We've had a brew.
Had a brew, and Andy's left us.
He's gone.
He's gone away.
I think he's gone to find his lambskins.
He's got his blazer on today. He's looking all fancy. So we've got in a super sub, as
Yeah.
promised, a special guest.
And a very special guest it is.
Very, very special guest.
Yeah.
We're joined by Paul Bundock.
Yes, and I'm part of the furniture here.
He is.
I've been here 25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
That is long.
yes.
It's a long time. So do you want to tell everyone what you do?
I do a bit of everything, and I have done a bit of everything over the years. So I started in service department, fixing things for
Right.
many, many years.
Excellent.
Yes.
And you're going to tell us all about KORG tuners today?
I'll try to, yes.
Yeah.
25 years experience of KORG tuners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different. Back in the early 90s when I started, we used to do a lot of repairs on them, and I even used to fix things like bagpipe tuners. I bet you didn't
Right.
know KORG used to make bagpipe
I
tuners.
can't believe there's actually such a thing exists.
Well, it was the very early one was.
Should we explain what a bagpipe is to our foreign listeners? Will everyone know what a bagpipe is?
They may not actually.
Well, the bagpipe tuner was developed in Japan, so they
Well,
obviously-
they must do then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the early bagpipe tuner was actually a modified guitar tuner. In those days, the tuner was analog. It had a little row of potentiometers behind a cover, and
Right.
they were basically rejigged to tune to the scale of a set of bagpipes
Right.
to make it sound more in tune than it actually is.
That's amazing. That's quite a challenge.
We need to bring it back.
I was-
start a campaign.
I
Bring
was-
it
The
back.
petition online,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was known as the world expert on bagpipe
Yeah.
tuners.
KORG, what is it?
What a claim to fame.
BT1.
Yes.
Bag, BPT1. I don't know what.
Bagpipe tuner one, yeah.
Bring it back.
So when did what sort of era was that then when the bagpipe tuner was out?
That one was must have been quite early because it was a 1970s tuner that was modified. But there was a later one in a digital one that was specially modified and rebadged,
Right.
but never really saw many of those.
So do you know when the first KORG tuner was? What year?
Around about 1975, KORG developed the very first commercially available tuner, the WT10, which was a handheld tuner with an analog meter on it.
I mean, can you imagine that? Imagine playing an instrument, a guitar or, any tunable instrument and
Yeah.
going, you don't have a tuner. You can't imagine what that
can't,
must
no.
have been like.
I
And
know.
It must
then
have been a revelation.
someone
literally.
saying to you, here you go, use this,
Yeah.
you can tune. I mean,
Yeah.
revolutionary.
Well, there's a lot more to tuners than meets the eye. I mean, some people
Mm.
think they're just frequency counters
Yeah.
because obviously that's what they have to do, measure the frequency of the instrument.
Mm.
But what you have to bear in mind, KORG have been in this business for years developing tuners, which is why KORG tuners are the best, because
Yeah.
things like when you play a note on an instrument, the frequency is moving all the time, basically, especially with things like stringed instruments. So you can't just have a tuner that displays the actual frequency all the time, because the meter would never come to rest.
Just going all over the place. Yeah.
And also, the human ear can filter out that movement, and it perceives the note at a certain frequency. So the tuner needs to do the same. It has to be dampened so that the meter responds in a certain way and actually displays the notes that in the same way that the brain interprets the note being played. And KORG have got algorithms that have developed over years and years.
So KORG is supposed to have the most accurate tuners, is that right?
They do. Some of our tuners are 0.1 of a cent, basically, which so you can get very accurate tuning. Also, you have to get the response fast as well, not just slow it down. You have to get it to respond quickly. Things like stringed instruments, you always tune up with those. If it's too slow, you keep tuning up and up. If it's too slow, you miss it, and then
because you were telling me something earlier about guitar tuning strings and how you always tune up rather than down.
Yes, you normally tune up. Once you go past a point when you tune down, it sometimes the string can slightly catch on the fulcrums, like the saddles or on the nuts, things like that. And then all of a sudden, when you're playing, it'll slip and then go flat. So it's best to tune up.
There you go.
You're just learning so much.
I'm still can't get off a bagpipe tuning, to be honest.
Mad.
That's mad. So I guess have you had a chance to see any of the new ones then yet? Have you seen the golf swing one and the Amel?
Well, those are actually they're all part of the they come under the same category. No, not yet. I'm sure we'll be able to get those out soon.
Sync dancing one, I'm all over that one.
Talking of the new ones though, the one that's really good, something I've been asking for ages, the KORG actually did, is obviously all the clip-on tuners that go on your headstock of a string are great. But the one problem is they always use fiddly little coin batteries, and you never have a spare one of those in your drawer.
No,
especially if they're weird things as well. But KORG have got one now, the Sledgehammer Custom 100. It uses a single AAA battery, and because it's a bigger battery, it will run for 100 hours. Compared to most tuners that run for about sort of 15 hours.
That's so good, because imagine the scene, you just tune it for your gig beforehand, tuner goes down.
Well,
you're never going to get one of those special batteries, are you?
I know,
you can just nip down the shop and get a normal battery.
I mean, these days, they're fairly common, those coin batteries, but there's so many of them.
And
who thinks, I must get some spare coin batteries? You often have a AA or a AAA in your drawers at home.
Exactly.
And having a tuner that runs off a AAA, it's just great. You can always sling one in your guitar case. It's simple little things like that make KORG tuners the best.
Wise words.
There you go. Yeah. Wise words indeed. So tuners,
brilliant.
Metronomes.
Yeah,
they do everything. And they were the very first. That's mental. Any other exciting facts that you can give us about tuners? Not necessarily in bagpipe, as I say, still blowing me away. Andy's coming back in. Here he is. Here he is. He's back.
Oh, he can come and take over. He can come and talk about tuners.
He can come and talk about tuners.
Metronomes.
Did you know that KORG did a bagpipe tuner?
I did.
Oh, right.
I thought everyone knew that. That was common knowledge.
He didn't
really, no. But no, I really appreciate you coming in and telling us all about tuners. No, I appreciate your time. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much for coming in to speak.
My pleasure. Okay.
And then I'm going to bring Andy back in now.
Yeah.
So it goes down
right, go on then.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. He's back.
Hi, sorry about that.
He's still got his blazer on.
That was a good one.
What was?
Never mind. If you can't work it out, I'm not telling you.
Shall we stop now anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, what? No, I'm back. Yeah, cheers. Okay, bye.
Welcome back, part 3, episode 5. What are we on now? Kronology. And we've got the jingle all done with some special effects.
Yeah. So this has been ruined. Sorry, this has been modified by
Luke and a pitch shift.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Well, we're going to do it live. Normally it's like edited in,
This is going to happen. We're about to hit
We're actually
play.
going to do it now.
About to witness it, yeah.
So you're going to go over to that reel-to-reel machine and play
Yeah,
the reel to me.
The what? The real to
The
real.
real donkeys or aliens.
Right then, let's do it live. Picture I love it.
So there we
Wow. Well, that's changed a tad, isn't it? Yeah. There's bits of it I like, and there's the bit at the end where it's going caw, which sounds just like a very low pitched parrot or something. But it's that's good. I think
Anyway,
it's good.
what have you got in
Yeah,
store
more
for us
importantly,
this time,
I'm not going
Luke?
to tell you now. You've been horrible to me. My jingle. We have a product called the KORG Poly800.
Amazing.
Yay.
Okay, so the Poly800, I sort of call it part of the golden age of synths, which really started sort of 1981 through 84. So you had during that time some of the ones we've already talked about: the Monopoly, the Poly 6, the Oberheim OBXA, Jupiter 8s, TR808, Poly 61 in 82, then the Lindrum, Roland Juno 6, Juno 60, TB303, and then in 83 we had, which is the year this came out, the Oberheim OB8, Roland Jupiter 6, JX3P, SH101 and Yamaha DX7. So just mega names in terms of synths in those sort of 3 to 4 years. So just before I go on to talk about the Poly800, I wanted to introduce something very important that also happened in 1983, which was actually at the January NAMM show. They announced that they'd invented MIDI.
Wow.
Yeah.
MIDI.
So
Well, we love
Imagine
MIDI.
that. This new thing called MIDI.
and everyone's going, what's that? What's that? And it was just, at the time, truly, truly groundbreaking. It really, really was. So,
And they had no idea how many people's lives would be ruined
yeah.
by trying to get it to
Even
work.
today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What channel? It sort of came out of an initial meeting at the NAMM show, actually the previous year in 1982. Some of the main synth manufacturers a lot of them got together, and eventually this actually proved fruitless because they couldn't really agree on the format. So then a kind of smaller splinter group formed, including Dave Smith from Sequential Circuits, Tom Oberheim, and also representatives from Yamaha, Roland, KORG and Kawai. So all the big players really at that time, they all sat down and agreed to proceed with development of a universal protocol on the premise that other manufacturers would have to follow if they were successful. Because they thought if we make it work, then everyone's just going to hopefully follow us.
Yeah.
So the following year, so they all, furiously kind of went their separate ways and then communicated. And can you imagine that happening these days? I mean, all these different companies communicating with the R&D department of each
Just
other.
wouldn't happen, would it?
No, it
You
just
can't
wouldn't.
see it. No.
Yeah, it's mad. So eventually they got a working prototypes ready for the next year in 1983. So it was a Sequential Prophet 600, was the first keyboard with MIDI, and at the show that was connected to a Roland Jupiter 6 for the first time, and that was the first time two instruments had talked to each other in public anyway.
You just take it so for granted now as well,
No,
don't you?
No, you do.
It's mad. And Dave Smith and Kakashi, who at the time was the head of Roland and the kind of founder and an amazing guy, they won technical Grammys
Wow.
for that. That was in January 2013. They were recognised for the development of MIDI because that was the 30th anniversary. So
Amazing.
yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring that up is because also the Poly800 had MIDI.
Yeah.
So it's the first KORG keyboard to have MIDI. So that came out in 83. It had 49 keys, 64 sounds because it had digital storage. Obviously it had MIDI, but it still had cassette tape backup.
I love it.
So which was cool. It was 8-note poly, which was 4-note when doubled. It had digitally controlled oscillators. It had an LFO, a nice filter, 24 dB per octave, 3 envelope generators. Effects wise, it had a chorus effect. It also had chord memory, which we'd seen earlier, and a built-in sequencer. It was produced for 2 years, and it also had, which is really cool, guitar strap pegs. on the end.
There we go.
So, and it was battery powered, so you could use it as a keytar if you wanted to. And there was a nice reverse
Have we got
key
one of these
model.
downstairs?
We have.
I've just seen one.
Yeah. Oh, have you?
Literally just seen one downstairs.
Wicked, yeah.
I'm going to tweet a picture
Yeah,
of that
get a
in
picture of
minute.
it.
Yeah.
I've actually got some really cool adverts as well from the time.
Yeah.
They're like so 80s.
I've seen some of those. They're
Have you?
fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah. And there's actually one where our MD, Robbie, was telling us he used to do my job actually back in the day.
Yeah.
And there's one advert with a picture of looks like him. and he always used to get asked, "Oh, is that you in the advert?" Because apparently it was some famous musician. I can't remember who it was now, but at the time, so that's quite funny. So anyway, there was also the following year a tabletop rack mount version called the EX800, which is basically like a module version. And then there was the following year, 85, Poly800 Mark II added a few things like digital delay effects, MIDI SysX, so it had a bigger MIDI implementation, and a darker paint job as well.
Yeah.
So it was really, really nice synth, the Poly800. Kind of underappreciated because it was probably overshadowed a little bit at that time by some of the bigger names, but it's actually a really great sounding synth. Some of the artists who used it, Orbital, Depeche Mode, Sneaker Pimps, Vangelis, Jeff Downes from Yes, Nick Rhodes from Duran Duran, Yesterdays, and Jimmy Tenor. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So that is the Poly800.
Great.
Today's Kronology.
And I'll tweet some pics later.
Yes, we'll get those adverts on the go as well. They're cool.
I can tell what's coming here. I can see this.
You know what's
And
coming.
what else happened
And what
in
else happened in
1983?
This is becoming a tradition.
I
now,
know, I
isn't
like it. It's quite
Yeah.
because it puts you back to that time.
It does.
I
Very
bet I
nostalgic.
can predict the first thing you're
Go
going
on.
to say. Return of the Jedi.
No, actually, it's the year that McDonald's did the first chicken nugget. It was actually it was my first.
Return of the Jedi was so much cooler.
Really? Than a chicken nugget? Just think
well,
about it.
well, yes. I'm going to
think
go with
about
that.
it.
Okay.
Right, 1983. Right then, a few things that happened. Very
I was
interesting.
2.
MASH ended, the TV programme.
Oh,
Swatch introduced the first
Swatch,
watch.
really?
Remember Swatch
Yeah,
watches?
I do.
I'm just going to skip through some of these because we don't need to go through. Microsoft Word was released.
Right.
Wow.
There you go.
MIDI and Microsoft Word.
McDonald introduces the McNuggets. There you go. I know it was right.
You actually knew that off the top of your head without reading.
Moving on. Famous hits. Billie Jean.
Nice.
Flashdance. What a feeling.
There we
Absolute classic. Down Under. Men at Work. Beat It. Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Africa. Another word that's
Toto.
difficult for me to pronounce. Toto.
Toto.
Yeah,
He thought it was so-so.
Electric Avenue. Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh.
Relax. Classic.
Don't do it.
TV now. Here's a good one. TV. He-Man.
Oh, there we go.
He-Man. Enough said. Fraggle Rock.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh,
Alvin
that
and
used to scare me, Fraggle Rock. You know,
Why?
the things that used to... They'd run down the pipe.
Fraggles?
Not the Fraggles, the things that would grab them out of the pipe. I literally had, like... Am I...
What are you going on about?
Didn't they run up a pipe to a lighthouse and have to go down? And I'll tell you the
Yeah,
things...
yeah.
And you know the little guys that made scaffolding out
Are
of
they
sugar?
like
Yeah.
Doovers or what?
That's... Yeah, I
There's
did
something
not like them.
I might have got that wrong, but
But
it's something
Right,
like
you
that.
ready?
Okay.
Doc and his dog Sprocket have a hole in their wall, behind which live little fairy creatures
Just another
known as
monologue
Fraggles in a place called Fraggle Rock. The rock is also home to the Doozers. You were
Doozers.
right.
Yeah, don't like them.
Who are knee high to a Fraggle, and the KORG. Anyway, it just goes on because you were right, Luke.
I don't know what Andy was talking about. Though. What's this hand coming down?
Didn't the big things used to grab the Fraggles and like just like kick them about and things? Or is that
no
no?
idea.
Okay.
Anyway, movies.
troubled childhood.
Return of the Jedi, obviously.
Do you know that took was it 252 million if I had to remember off the top of my head, or if I was reading it off
What,
my phone
Fraggle
currently?
Rock?
Not that, no.
Oh, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Fraggle Rock.
Return of the Jedi, obviously, Flashdance,
War games.
War Games,
Oh,
an
lots of
absolute
film.
classic film. Octopussy,
Yeah,
going back to the James Bond thing.
yeah. It's your Roger Moore favourite.
Roger
again.
Moore,
Yeah.
Fabergé egg and all that. What else? National Lampoon's Vacation, love that.
Yeah.
Great. Superman 3.
Oh.
Now this is the
This
one.
is
that
the
used
one
to
you were telling
frighten
about
me
with a woman.
robot. Yeah, it
Yeah.
turns into a robot at
Yeah.
the end, and it used to scare me. So there's a few classics there.
What a year!
It's a mega year. As usual, there always seem to be mega years.
Well, it's because it's like late 70s, 80s. Like
yeah,
amazing.
and here's another thing: never say never again. Saw 2
Really?
James Bond films.
But that was
Sean Connery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he made a comeback, didn't
He
he?
did.
And Chris
Scarface.
Hemsworth was born that year as well. There you go. That's good, isn't
There
it?
we go. And
Thor was born.
Thor was born on
Thor was born. Scarface.
at the same time as the Poly800.
Yeah. So that's rounds up my fascinating. I think Chicken Nugget wins. To
Definitely,
be
yeah.
honest.
That's
I think Thor being born the same year as the Poly800. 2 legends born at once.
yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So there we go. So thank you for that, Lou.
Yeah,
What are
that's
you
good.
doing next? Have you got any ideas on?
No, it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Right, so we move on. So you want to just talk about myvolts for a minute, didn't you, Luke?
Yes. Yeah. This is such a great company. They just like send me stuff. It's just really, I really like
So that's why. So if you want to get mentioned on the pod, just send Luke free things.
Yeah.
Or chicken McNuggets to me.
Yeah.
Chicken
Thing
nuggets.
is, they've sent me again one of these power distribution things for Volcas, but they've made a new one now with the angled jacks.
Yes, that's right. I remember
So
you showing me.
yeah, obviously when they're plugged in, they just look a lot sleeker and then a lot neater to use. So yeah, I just wanted to say how grateful I am and how
I think the thing with it
Good
is as
product
well
is.
is if anybody has got any products, KORG and other products, they do lots of different power solutions for everything.
yeah, not just for KORG, for
You
loads of
name
different
it.
brands.
So if
yeah.
you want to connect this to that, or you've got this, and this, and you're thinking, oh, what can I do? These guys will have the solution.
they definitely
So
will.
yeah, so
And
check
they
that
seem
out.
to think
So-
outside the box a little bit, don't they, as well? So
Yeah.
it's good. Worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, so
and they do things off their own back. It's not like they have to come to us and say, "Oh, can we do this?" or "What do you think?" They just do it, and then
yeah,
it's just great.
yeah.
So-
So that's myvolts. So check those out. And then we've got a special feature at the end of this podcast. We've mentioned many times before Tony Horgan, who's done his Volca guides, is doing a bit for the podcast,
He is,
which is
yeah.
amazing.
Fantastic.
So what is it? I mean, you'll hear it at the end, but you want to give us a bit of a sneak
Yeah,
preview?
it's
Luke,
going to
what it is?
be. It's called Volca Tips, and it's just little tidbits, really, just tips on how to do quirky things with Volcas, and I haven't actually heard it yet, so we're going to have a listen in a minute. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's coming at the end of the podcast. So we'll have another little break and have another little brew, and then we'll do some news and some downloads. Welcome back. Andy's insistent on us laughing when we start for some reason. I don't know why. So anyway,
It's giving the
we're
game away now.
going to change it up. We're going to do the Volca tips now.
Yes.
Then we can do a bit of a chat
So
about
this is
it at the
by
end.
Tony Horgan.
Yeah, not Hogan,
Horgan.
as in Hulk Hogan.
I do- I
Tony
do-
Horgan,
Yeah. Okay.
who writes the amazing Volca guides that you can find on iTunes. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's have a
Let's
listen.
get it on.
Here we go.
Thanks, guys. Hi, I'm Tony Horgan, and this is Volca Tips. You might know me from my KORG Volca Expert guides, which you can find online by searching Volca Expert. You can find me on Twitter at @TheTonyHorgan. Today, we're going to talk about the Volca keys. Many people tell me the Volca keys is their favourite Volca, but just as many people tell me that it never makes the kind of sounds that they want. They don't know why. Well, here are 2 tips. The most important thing with the Volca keys is to let it warm up first. Now, when you turn the Volca keys on, it's almost certainly going to be out of tune. So, turn it on, leave it in the environment that you're going to use it, and let the auto-tuning do its work for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. If you're bringing it from a cold environment to a very warm environment, maybe from the back of a van onto a hot stage under lights, you might need to leave it longer. You can see the Volca keys tuning itself if you look through the side of the case near the octave select knobs or the voice mode knob, or if you look through the bottom by the serial number, you'll see 3 red LEDs. Now, when you're not using the Volca keys, these lights will flash intermittently, and this is the Volca keys tuning each of the 3 oscillators. And it will keep adjusting these for as long as it's turned on and not actually in use. If you want to know if the Volca keys is in tune, the easiest way to do it is to turn the detune knob all the way down put it into poly mode and play a chord. If the chord sounds good, it's in tune. If it doesn't, it's out of tune. Okay, so once it's in tune, we can move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 today is actually a few tips rolled into one, but mostly what we're talking about here is using the sustain control to create variations in a single pattern. If you create a pattern with long and short notes within the same pattern, so notes that are sustained and not sustained, then they will sound different as you play them back. However, if you take the sustain knob all the way down to minimum, in effect you remove the sustain part of the sound, so you just have a very short sound that's made up of the attack slope, the decay curve, and then there's no sustain because that's all the way down. You're already at 0 volume and there's no decay. So if you play a pattern now, the long notes and the short notes will all sound roughly the same. Then as you start to increase the sustain, you'll start to hear differences in the longer notes and the shorter notes. This pattern still sounds a bit dull, but once you put it through a delay effect, it really comes to life. Here we're using a KORG Mini KP2. If you offset the tempo of the delay from the tempo of the Volca keys, then you can get a more funky effect. So the tempo of the keys here is set roughly to 120 BPM, which is the tempo of the keys when the tempo knob is in the central position. And the Mini KP2 is set to 120 BPM too. So if we reduce the Mini KP2 tempo to about 116, then you'll hear the notes falling in a slightly more funky and less predictable pattern. Once you add a few other tweaks like filter cutoff, things get much more exciting. Okay, that's all from me. You can find me on Twitter at @TheTonyHorgan, and you can find my Volca guides by searching Volca Expert. See ya!
So there we go. So excellent first part. So thank you very much to Tony Horgan. These will be in every single month from now on.
They will, yeah.
So that's amazing. So moving on. Videos.
Yes.
And stuff. What have you seen, Luke? What's new? What's out there?
Well, obviously there's all the new videos for the new products.
Yep.
Some nice dealer ones actually.
Oh, is there?
Like Sweetwater did a nice one on the monologue.
Yep, so that's very good.
Going quite in depth already.
Right.
So that's quite cool if people want to check that out. Until I've got mine produced, of course.
Yep.
So
I saw on your, I think it was your Twitter feed, the KingKORG one that they've done as well. With
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
Do they
Yeah,
play
really,
Boy
really
Slippy?
Cool. They
Mr.
don't.
Crowley?
They
There's a
could
Mr.
do.
Crowley preset. Do you not play that? No. See?
There are some
Yeah.
great presets
Yeah.
in the KingKORG. Yeah.
We need to get one in.
Oh,
we need to
we do.
get
We
one.
do
in.
need
We
to do that.
In fact, we need to arrange that. In fact, we've probably not got any because they've all sold. So if we can get our hands on a KingKORG,
We'll do our best for next time. Yeah.
I can show the world how to
can.
play Boy and Slippy.
Well, you can probably sing at the same time, can't you? Because you're from the same part of the country, aren't you, as the guys?
What,
that did
Scotland?
That? Is that yeah? Well, sorry, north of Hertfordshire.
So
No
anything
offence, anyone
above
who's-
Birmingham is Scotland, according to Andy.
no, Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
There you go.
Right,
Oh,
okay.
he's changed. He's gone a
So
bit
no,
upmarket.
I'm not from Scotland, but I can play a bit of Boy and Slippy for you.
We'll look forward to that.
Yeah, so maybe we should do that for next time. So so we've got new videos on Monologue. We've got KingKORG. What else have you seen this month? Have you
Well,
seen anything?
there's a video as well on the Odyssey, the new Odyssey
Yep.
iPad version,
Mhm.
which is very cool. Which we're going to have a look at next time.
And
I
don't
think.
forget, releasing this month to UK shores, Volca Kick.
Oh yes.
Oh yes, it's a
Some,
landing, isn't it?
yeah. So videos on that, and of course the ARP Odyssey module.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
Um,
Tats, the designer of the Volcas,
Mhm.
he's done a new video on the Volca Kick as well, which is well worth a look. So again, he goes a bit more in depth.
It'd be really good as well if we've got anyone listening that has done a video themselves, actually just to link it via Twitter so we can,
Yeah, so we can.
we're happy to
see
promote
it.
you as well.
Absolutely,
We'd
yeah.
love to see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I've seen some videos this month.
Oh, I bet you have.
I have. So obviously I like to look at weird stuff.
Careful.
Mega Man 2 on MS-20. So
Oh.
the dude that was doing the videos on the MS-20 doing all the Zelda stuff is on Mega Man now.
Oh wow, he's moved
So
on.
he's moved
Yeah.
on. So I've retweeted that. So check that out. Have you seen anything else?
No.
I think it's Monologue everywhere right now,
It
isn't
is,
it? It's
yeah.
just gone crazy.
It's like
Yeah,
every
it's
other
mad,
thing
isn't
on
it?
my Twitter feed is about monologue.
Which is good.
Yeah, it is.
What's the other thing then?
Can't say.
Okay.
So I guess something else that we should mention is that you're doing a little show this month, round the corner from KORG Towers.
Yes, the MPX show.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So what's that, and how can people find out about it?
It is. It's called Music Production Show, and it's actually moved. It was in London at the Emirates Stadium,
All right.
but now it's moved to another football stadium. Actually,
So it's just like Milton Keynes, then,
Milton
really, like
Keynes.
Wimbledon.
Yeah, they've gone to Milton Keynes Dons now.
Yeah.
So that's on the 18th and 19th of November,
Okay.
and I will be there showing all the KORG wares.
And there'll be the new stuff will be there as
They
well.
will,
So the products that aren't out yet, like the monologue,
Yeah, there'll be the monologue. I try and
Volca
get.
kicks if they're back. I don't
Yeah.
know if they're out yet.
Should have one of those by then,
Which should
hopefully.
be good. And of course, microKORG S.
Yeah, and I'll try and get hold of a KingKORG as well. So, anyone's interested in seeing any of the new gear?
So it's
That's the
MPX.
place to go. Yeah.
So that's on the 18th and 19th.
Yep.
At the MK Dons Stadium.
Yes.
So so check that out.
Yep.
Have you seen any other videos, Andy, or anything you want to slot into this section of the podcast?
Not that I feel I can repeat right now. No.
Okay.
But
Still on GTA?
no, I've stopped that now.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, right. Whatever.
That's absolute lies. I'm just playing with a projector now instead of a TV.
Have you still
So-
got that amazing projector?
I have, yeah, but we can't talk about it here because Matt will want it back. So
Okay.
Oh dear.
Matt, if you're listening, Andy's still got your projector. Can I borrow it, please? Thank you.
no, me and Matt are too close. It's not going to happen. Remember the pictures, Matt?
So in downloads, there's some lot of things been announced this month. So since the last podcast, there's been updates. I'm just gonna get them for you now. Let me get them on here so we can. So we've had new drivers for everything, pretty much going back from M3.
For everything.
Pretty much. There's loads in there, but.
Poly800?
If we,
Yeah.
well, if we start talking about M3 and things like that, then
Oh, wow.
That is going back a
it
bit,
does
yeah.
go. It does go back quite a way. So we've got updates for PA4X, updates for PA3X,
Yeah.
updates for. Let's have a look. What else have we've got on here? One thing I didn't know is how many versions are there of a PA300.
What do you mean versions?
Well, I've got here new manuals and new updates, and because obviously for our overseas colleagues, there's different versions of the PA4X. Obviously, we
Right,
do
yeah.
the PA4X and we do the PA4X Oriental in the UK, but there are other versions, the Musicant and things like that. But you've got things like PA300 Brazilian edition,
yeah.
PA300 Chinese edition.
I did know about that.
PA300 Indian edition. I
Yeah.
can go on. The PA300 Iran edition.
We're going on a world tour
PA300
here.
Peru edition. Romanian edition. Serbia edition. Turkey edition.
Serious?
Vietnam edition. It's like, oh my god! It just brings it home, I guess. What a worldwide.
Well, the
product
professional
is.
arranger category for KORG is absolutely massive worldwide for
Yeah.
us. So
There's updates for those products. We've also got new drivers for ARP Odyssey module, of course, PA4X Oriental, the Kronos, Platinum, Nano Control Studio, Nano Key Studio, Minilog, Micro Key 2, Micro Key Air, PA4X, new drivers, Havian 30, Chaos DJ, MS20M Kit and SQ1, ARP Odyssey, Kronos Standard, Electribe Sampler, Electribe. I mean, literally, there's
I
lots
thought we were
on
going to have to do
there.
a fade then. Yeah.
So yeah, if
Essentially-
anybody's got
essentially everything, isn't it?
yeah, KORG products, the way you find this is I just literally type in on the old Google, just KORG and download. So if you've got a KORG product, no matter the age, it's always worth
keeping an eye, isn't it?
check
Yeah.
out on there, and it's really, really easy. Most updates that include new features.
Sometimes new sounds and patterns.
Yeah, they generally have a manual, so that so if there's new things that you need to find about, they'll include a manual in there as well.
Yep.
So that's the kind of rounds up the download section.
I've remembered one more video.
Oh,
Well, there's three more actually. It's
Oh.
the John Schoen ones.
of course, yeah.
Yeah. So they've published 4 of them now.
Yes.
So they're all on different sort of aspects of the Kronos.
Stadium sounds.
Yeah, they're really good. Really good. So well worth a watch.
And they're all 15 minutes.
Yeah, they're
long.
quite long. They're quite in depth.
So so that's excellent. So there's that. Any news on your video yet, Luke?
No, I did see it actually playing in the foyer, so they must have finished it, but they haven't actually published it.
So if you want to see Luke's video, come to KORG
yeah.
Towers, knock on the door, and if someone lets you in, just stand in the foyer for a while.
You might have to wait a while because there's quite a lot of videos playing. It's on a long loop, but eventually you'll see it.
Well, so we need to get that out.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
But I just want to say again, thank you to people that have contacted us, thanking us about the podcast and emailing us as well.
Absolutely.
Caroline, you know who you are. Yes, They Live, the greatest film ever. But yeah, so any feedback that you've got, anything that you want to send us, we love all the feedback that we get. Anything that you want to, help us improve, help us get better. Don't forget you can follow us at microKAST on Twitter. That's microKAST with a K, MICROKAST. You can find me at Adam KORG UK. You can find Andy at
Andy KORG UK.
and you can find Luke at
KORG Luke.
just a bit different.
Yes.
So I think that kind of rounds it up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anything else to talk next month? Christmas special.
Yeah, could be.
Christmas
We
special.
need to get a
Yeah.
PA4X in there. Get Pete on again, giving us
Yeah.
some Christmas favourites.
We're gonna have to get bells on the jingles as well, aren't we?
Yeah, no, we do.
Jingle bells. I don't know.
Make a special jingle edition of all the jingles.
Sleigh bells and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
thank you very much for everyone that's listening so far. As I say, please keep your feedback coming. We do listen. And anybody that wants to get in touch, get in touch. If you've got questions, we will read them out on a podcast. We will answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see
See you soon.
next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.